Hello and welcome to this chapter of money laundering scandals and matters. Today, we're going to dive deep into one of the biggest scandals which affected the financial world industry in recent times, which is the HSBC dirty money scandal. But before diving deep into our video, just make sure to subscribe to our channel so you will be updated with the new videos. In 2012, it was revealed that HSBC, one of the largest banks in the world, had facilitated the laundering of dirty money from drug cartels, terrorists, and other criminal organizations. The scandal led to a U.S. Senate hearing and a $1.9 billion settlement for HSBC, the largest of its kind in U.S. history. The bank was accused of facilitating money laundering for Mexican drug cartels, terrorists, and nations under international sanctions, among others. This was a shocking revelation, and it raised serious questions about the effectiveness of anti-money laundering (AML) controls in the financial sector. In response to the dirty money scandal and other similar cases, the Financial Action Task Force (FATF) updated its recommendations in 2012. The FATF is an intergovernmental organization that sets global standards for AML and countering the financing of terrorism (CFT). The updated FATF recommendations in 2012 placed a greater emphasis on risk assessment, customer due diligence, and suspicious activity reporting. They also provided more guidance on the responsibilities of financial institutions in preventing money laundering. The FATF recommendations continue to serve as a benchmark for AML regulations around the world and are an important tool in the fight against money laundering and other illicit financial activities. The dirty money scandal at HSBC was a turning point for the financial industry, leading to stronger AML regulations and a renewed commitment to detect and prevent money laundering and other illicit financial activities. It serves as a lesson to all financial institutions to take their AML responsibilities seriously and to implement robust. So, how did this happen? Well, there were several factors that contributed to HSBC's failure to prevent money laundering. Lack of investment in AML controls. Weak internal controls. A weak culture of compliance. Pressure to grow business. The bank's geographical reach. Besides that, the bank had a weak culture of compliance, and senior management did not take AML obligations seriously. This meant that employees were not adequately held accountable for their AML obligations, and the bank did not have effective systems in place to monitor and enforce compliance with AML regulations. Also, HSBC had a weak investment in AML controls, including customer due diligence, suspicious activity reporting, and risk assessment. This made it easier for criminals to use the bank's services to launder money from illegal activities without detection. And finally, the bank's extensive geographical reach made it easier for criminals to use its services to launder money across borders. This increased the complexity of the bank's AML controls and made it more difficult to detect and prevent money laundering. So, what were the consequences of the HSBC scandal? Well, the bank was fined a substantial amount of money and was required to implement significant reforms to its AML controls as part of a Deferred Prosecution Agreement, DPA, with the U.S. Department of Justice. This served as a warning to other financial institutions to take their AML obligations seriously and to invest in effective AML controls. The HSBC scandal also led to a tightening of anti-money laundering regulations and a renewed focus on ethical conduct in the financial sector. The Bank Secrecy Act was strengthened, and the Financial Action Task Force issued new guidance and recommendations to strengthen the implementation of AML controls by financial institutions. So, what lessons can be learned from the HSBC scandal? Well, the first and most important lesson is that financial institutions need to take their AML obligations seriously and invest in effective AML controls. This includes customer due diligence, suspicious activity reporting, and risk assessment. Secondly, financial institutions need to establish a culture of compliance, where employees are held accountable for their AML obligations and where the bank has effective systems in place to monitor and enforce compliance with AML regulations. And finally, financial institutions need to take a proactive approach to identify and prevent money laundering. This includes monitoring transactions for suspicious activity, using technology to automate AML controls, and continuously updating AML controls to keep pace with new risks and threats. In conclusion, the dirty money scandal at HSBC was a major wake-up call for the financial industry, and its impact is still being felt today. The scandal demonstrated the need for financial institutions to take their AML obligations seriously and to implement effective measures to prevent money laundering and other illegal activities. By learning from the lessons of this scandal, the financial industry can help ensure that similar failures do not occur in the future. Thank you for joining me for today's discussion on the HSBC dirty money scandal. I hope you found this video informative and engaging. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date with the latest financial news and analysis. Keep learning and stay competitive with us.